So I'm very pleased to be here. My name is Gabriela Monsalve, she, her, hers, ella, pronouns. I live in the Bay Area. My current title is Assistant Dean for Postdoctoral Scholars at the University of California in San Francisco. I identify as Latina, as a mother, as a scientist, and as an advisor. So this job is unique in that I do lots of different things every single day. I never have the same type of day. In my role, I oversee postdoctoral affairs. And what that means is I kind of do a little bit of everything in my job. I oversee 1,100 or so very talented scientists. So these are people who have not only gotten a bachelor's degree, in many cases a master's degree in their subfield specialty, and then a doctorate degree or a medical degree or some other type of terminal degree. And then after all of that, so we're talking like 10 plus years of schooling after the bachelor's degree, then they go and do additional training. And so those are the types of people that I work with and that I oversee. And I essentially in charge with making sure that they have access to resources, to information, so that they can make informed decisions and prepare for their next career step. And they do a lot of different things. There's a diversity of different career outcomes for all of these folks. And I'm actually one of those people. So I'm an example of somebody who did a postdoc and then went and did something actually pretty unrelated to the training that I was doing during my postdoc. So like a lot of things in my life, I happen to fall into this. And the reason why I think I got into this is that not only did I have the opportunity, but I was able to take advantage of that opportunity. And I feel like that has been a major theme throughout my career story. I'm also going to say that for those who are watching this that are planners like me, it's really hard to embrace serendipity. And I want to encourage people to really think about that because it is something that actually happens with a large fraction of people who end up in STEM careers. Like, it's not just that you did everything right on paper. It's that sometimes you fell into an opportunity and it ended up being a really good fit and you can move through that space. And that started for me as early as middle school and in high school. So I'm happy to tell you a little bit more about what I did in middle school and high school and how ultimately it led me to where I'm at right now. I received a bachelor's degree in biochemistry from the University of Minnesota in the Twin Cities. And then I did a post-bac, as we call it post-bac, but I work as a technician in a laboratory for 2 years at the University of California in San Diego. I got there by way of a summer research training program at UCSD. And then after I got to UCSD, did that research training program, did work 2 years as a lab tech. I applied to graduate school. And I did my Ph.D. training at the University of California, Los Angeles, so UCLA. That degree was in biological chemistry, so not a huge change, but actually my undergraduate degree was really focused on biochemistry and my Ph.D. was mostly genetics, molecular genetics. After that, I came up to UCSF and I did my postdoc training in endocrinology and pharmacology. So again, a lot of genetics, a lot of biochemistry, but then a whole new field of metabolomics and cell biology. After that, I totally did something really bizarre and I got into career development for people with PhDs. And so right after my postdoc, I jumped on board and started overseeing an NIH-funded program called the Motivating Informed Decisions program at UCSF and ran that for a number of years. And so that involved learning an entirely new skill set in social science research, which was really exciting. And then after that, I added to my portfolio an internship program for graduate students at UCSF, as well as employer engagement. And then ultimately, this position became available and I applied and now I'm here and now I'm kind of doing a little bit of everything, as I mentioned before, but and learning a lot in the job. But I think the nice thing about this role is that it's taking me back to more of my scientific training, but not necessarily with the respect of being at the bench every single day and producing new knowledge in the way that I used to, but reconnecting with the experience that I had at the bench, and working using evidence-based practices to improve that experience for our postdoctoral scholar community at UCSF. I did not think I would be doing this type of work when I was in high school. I thought maybe that I wanted to do this when I got into college, but that was only after I got to college. So in high school, all I knew was that I wanted to have some sort of job where I could stay in a university setting, and that's because I grew up on a college campus. My parents immigrated, and myself, we immigrated here from Venezuela in the 1980s. And my dad was doing graduate work at a university. So I grew up on campus housing, and I had a really wonderful childhood. And so part of me as a high school student, as a middle school student, really liked the idea of being able to have a career that seemed stable and that would be within a university setting. So when I was in high school, all I knew was I have to try my best to get good grades to get into a university that I can get a lot of scholarships to pay for, like, because I needed money to pay for school. So that was great. That kind of planning worked for me, but I ended up in the best university for me, but it wasn't my number one choice when I first started applying, but it ended up being phenomenal, and I love my alma mater. Love, love, love it. My picking biochemistry was, again, something where I fell into biochemistry when I was in high school. I was really interested in everything. I actually really wanted to go into physics, if that was really because I was really good at math, but I loved literature. I was thinking social science. Like, I didn't exactly know what I wanted to study. I just knew I wanted to study something. I fell into biochemistry because I applied. There was a school called the College of Biological Sciences at the University of Minnesota that was highly ranked. And I thought, I'll go to the highest ranked school that I can get into, and then I can change my major after my first year if I don't like biology. I ended up really liking it. So I ended up sticking around. I had an experience to work in a research lab because I was a work study student. So it was a really good fit with my major. And after that experience, I decided I actually really like biochemistry. Like, I want to get even more specific with the science. So I ended up doing biochemistry. There was something else that happened in college that kind of made me think about my current job a little bit more seriously, which was I had an opportunity to participate in a student-led class called Biology Colloquium. And that was a freshman level course that gave all of us undergraduates, the ones who registered for it, of course, an opportunity to explore careers in biology where undergraduate degrees in biology would be, useful. So it was everything from like forensics to veterinary medicine to research, like biomedical research, to medical school, to medical writing, to ecology and managing, wilderness management. It was for all biology related majors. And the person who oversaw that was an assistant dean, a program director. And one of the things I really liked about that class was, like, all of the career paths were really cool, and I'm really glad I took it. But it accidentally did something for me, is that it sparked this interest of, hey, here is somebody who has made a career out of developing programs for undergraduates to help them explore their career options and to think about the ways they can apply their degree. And so after I left college, and after those experiences, I thought, I'm going to keep going down this road of trying to make myself a career within a university. But I think I'd actually like to get into administration and into programming. I think that's kind of where my heart is. But everybody told me, like, hey, if you want to do that, you still got to be faculty. Like, faculty is the way to do that. So you got to go get your PhD. Don't do another degree, do a PhD. So that's what I did. So then I did a PhD, and I kind of went for, okay, try and go to the very best program that's the best fit for you. And I landed at that at UCLA, and I'm really grateful for that opportunity. And had, got really rigorous scientific training that focused my work, like I was really just doing pure biomedical basic science research, and very much less of what I was doing as an undergraduate. When I did my postdoc, it was kind of the same thing, like get that faculty position. So I came out to UCSF, got into the best laboratory for me, and that worked really well. Loved my postdoctoral experience, very hyper-focused on being at the bench and producing new knowledge and launching my research independence, but I also had another opportunity to explore my career options. And so I did that as a postdoc, and it's how it led into my job as running a career exploration program for biomedical PhDs. So there were some elements that I repeated as an undergraduate and as a postdoc that have led me to where I'm at right now. So my typical day-to-day activities change every single day. I never do the same thing every single day. Maybe on a Monday, I'll be going through and responding to emails from various different, stakeholders, everybody from postdocs to faculty to staff. And they can be as, simple questions like, how do I get access to this, to complicated questions of like, how do I navigate this situation with this person? I also do advising appointments, so I'm also meeting individually with postdocs, with faculty, and helping with interpersonal disputes or connecting them with on-campus experts who can help them with that. There are meetings that I'm pulled into as a content, like as the content expert. So the content expert on campus for postdoctoral policies and resources. I sit on various committees. So maybe I'll be going to a committee meeting that day or a task force meeting. I do a lot of writing in my job. So whether it's writing emails or writing summaries or writing recommendations, or writing things that need to go onto the postdoc website. Because one of the things that I do a lot, sometimes Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, or sometimes once a week, is to send out communications to postdocs on the postdoc website, via email, via social media. So I'm crafting tweets, and I'm, giving out announcements, or, opening up calls for a certain funding opportunity or whatever it might be that day. And then honestly, there's a lot of behind the scenes work that I do, and that's the bulk of what I do. So if there are issues, problems, things that need to be streamlined that affect postdocs, I'm usually involved in that. And that usually doesn't ever come to the forefront. So that's not something that I'm tweeting about. That's not something I'm writing an email about. That's something that we're fixing things in the background so that it looks seamless to everybody else who's actually having the experience. And that's how I measure that I've done a good job. If postdocs feel like they're able to navigate the university, if they're able to access resources, if they're able to get support, and it feels like it's easy for them, then I've done my job. So that's pretty much what I need. That's what I do day to day. I would say, as somebody who immigrated here as a very young child, so I had an immigrant experience, but I spent all of my childhood growing up here. I would say that don't ever forget to think about what you're planning to do within the context of your core values. Your values are going to change. Your values, today, like let's say today your value is, I want to make a lot of money. That's phenomenal. Don't let anybody ever dissuade you from that. Everybody comes in with their own set of values, and what might be right for them may not be right for you. I feel like when I was really young, I took a lot of what people, with very good intentions telling me, this is what you should be doing, this is how you should be studying, this is what you need to be studying, and this is where you need to aim. But sometimes it wasn't really the thing that I needed, and it wasn't the thing that my family needed, right? So I would just really listen to those core values. What are those things that are motivating you, that are important to you? And make sure that whatever your next step is, either in college, either in a vocational training, either on the job, whatever it is, that it is aligned with your values, and recognize that those can change. The second piece of advice that I would tell anybody, and especially young girls in middle school and high school, is don't be afraid to take advantage of opportunities and to take advantage of serendipity. It doesn't mean that every single random opportunity is going to be the right fit for you, right? Think about it within the context of the values and the things that you're looking for, but don't be afraid to give it a shot. Most people fail. I fail 99% of the time in my job. The point is getting back up. The point is learning from those failures and improving upon it. So take your shots, take advantage of those opportunities, and don't be afraid.